Chastity, the Chastity Monroe channel. Me being me, I found three black female OBGYNs. And we'll talk about, how I shared the news. I eventually shared the news with our parents. Everyone was super happy. Fun times, right? But as I stated earlier, I had been in New York, so I didn't really have any healthcare providers in Memphis, in Tennessee at all. I didn't even know what the landscape looked like. I hadn't lived here since I was a teenager. So because in my circles at FAMU, I've known of two people who have unfortunately died in childbearing, and they were Black educated women. I knew for me it was important to find the right healthcare providers for me. And very early on, I knew that I wanted to have a natural birth. Very early on, I was convinced that I wanted a midwife. And that was pretty much it. That's all I knew. So I knew that in between that time, I needed to go to an OB just to, make sure that this was, the pregnancy was legitimate, and just kind of get those services in between trying to figure out things. So me being me, I found three Black female OBGYNs, and I got appointments to all three. So I was like, I'm gonna find three, at least three. That's what you do with a quote. Like if you're getting any kind of quote, you get three. So I'm like, that makes sense to me. A little overboard, but that's what I did. In the meantime, I was also trying to research what the midwife situation was in Memphis. So, in New York, I had been used to hearing that, there's kind of this nice intersection in some hospitals where you can get those you can get that midwife type of experience in a hospital, but that's just not the case in Memphis. Like there's no birthing tubs in hospitals. It's like either this or that, and so I found that out very quickly, that there was only really one birthing center, and the name, I won't go into the name, you guys look it up, but this birthing center is actually like a full service reproductive organization. So not only do they do midwifery, but they also do abortion services. It's a spectrum, which I think is amazing and needed, especially in a city like Memphis. But that being said, there's only one. So it's like an overwhelming demand in Memphis for this birthing center. And so I, again, very early on, reached out to try to get an appointment, to try to get in. And in the meantime, I'm going to my OBs. I'm also trying to figure out who I'm going to land with, because I don't need to continue going to three. So I netted on two. I'm still kind of at two. And I actually like the third too. So I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with that. But long story short, I ended up finally getting some communication or correspondence with the birthing center. And the great thing about this birthing center is that, pretty much all of the midwives are Black, which made me feel very comfortable. I guess 90% of them. And the facility is like state of the art, brand new. I think at the time they'd only had 2 births. So that was really amazing for me. But I knew that they were overwhelmed because of how long it was taking for them to get back to me. And even when they were getting back to me, it was kind of like, oh, who are you? And then on top of that, my insurance did not cover it. So I knew I was going to have to pay full price, which I was okay with. But because that's what I wanted. But it was almost as if because they knew that I didn't have the insurance, it was like, well, I just want you to know you're going to have to pay this. almost like them not thinking I would do it because I needed to pay. And I'm like, no, it's fine. So after maybe 3 or 4 different interactions, I actually got on the books to do the meet and greet. The problem with the meet and greet was that for me, there were 4 to 5 other women, and I think that there were I'm sorry. There actually were only 2 other women that were there, but there were supposed to be like 4 to 5. So that to me was like, whoa, I am doing this because I want a certain level of care. I want to have, that one-on-one connection with a midwife who's really going to care for me. And for me, that initial kind of, let's just bring in 4 or 5 people, that wasn't giving me a good signal in terms of what my expectation was, right? In addition, my husband wasn't able to come. And I understand now because there were also 4 to 5 other women who were coming for the meet and greet. So it just didn't make sense given COVID. But that said, my husband and I had been having such, I'm trying to say this delicately, but we've been going at it about this whole midwifery thing, and he did not understand. He still doesn't really understand. Even my mom, my own mother, told me out of her mouth, she said, well, honestly, I hope they tell you can't have this baby at the birthing center, so you can have the baby at the hospital like everybody else. That was the energy I was getting about this, okay? Which made me, if you know me, that made me even more pressed. I'm like, oh, no. I'm going to do this. This is my body, my business, okay? And this is what's going to happen. Like, y'all not going to be the ones on that table or whatever giving birth to this baby. I need to feel comfortable. I need to feel confident. And that, to me, was what was going to enable me to do that. So anyway, back to the visit. The visit, I thought, was okay, but it was just, again, there were other indications to me that the experience may not meet up to my expectation. And so I was so dejected and just so upset because in my mind, this is absolutely what I was going to do. But you have to follow your gut. I'm a strong believer in that. And although I feel like in my mind, this is what I wanted, my heart wasn't there, and the vibe, the energy wasn't there for me either. And so I then decided that it just wasn't going to be for me. So I talked this over with my husband, and, I kind of had him on FaceTime throughout the whole thing. Facility, again, top notch, but my biggest concern was more the administration and how they were, kind of processing and handling business. And I was concerned if that was going to kind of also transfer into how they were delivering the care. Even though I still think it probably was going to be a much more intimate experience, than going to the OB, it just didn't land for me. So here I am, 17 weeks now, and I think that I'm going to go the OB route. Not that happy about it, but I knew then that I needed to get a birth doula. I had already known I wanted a postpartum doula because I want like a night nurse type of situation just in case. I want to be fully prepared. So one of the things my aunt kind of put on my heart was, you need a team, and I think I do. And so I decided, I'm gonna try to get a chef. I'm gonna make sure I have a cleaning lady come every other day, and I'm also gonna have a night nurse. And so I think with my the postpartum doula that I have found, I'll be able to get at least the kind of the night nurse services that I kind of need, along with some other services which are going to be beneficial. But now that I will be going the OB route, I've been interviewing birth doulas. because initially I just didn't think I needed it. And that's been a journey too. So I haven't signed any contracts, but this is where I am. So far, I have interviewed some amazing candidates. I'm so impressed with the amount of Black doulas in Memphis. There's even like organizations that provide their services for free if you live in a certain neighborhood. It's actually Strides. I don't live in those zip codes, but even just seeing the amount of resources that are available to Black women in this city is phenomenal. And so I wish there were a few more things. Like now, you know, I'm trying to get a Hypnobabies class. So I think the closest one is in Nashville. I might end up just doing home study. But listen, Memphis got it going on as it relates to just really good resources and really good folks. So that's where I am. I'll keep you guys updated. I said a little more than I meant to say in terms of this video. It was supposed to just be about where I am in my healthcare choices. But also, I knew I needed to give y'all some detail on how we got knocked up. So anyway, more to come. Thanks, guys. Let me know if you have any suggestions, comments, concerns, questions. More to come. So subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.